There's an amazing card. What like amazing card. Let me just go through this card real quick, and that's how I will end it. So, I mean, to start things off, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. This is a huge fight. This is a huge test for Adesanya. This is a fight that I think Adesanya can lose. It is possible. This Pereira guy has already knocked him out and is just a phenomenal striker. He knocked out Sean Strickland with a jab. That's insane. So this is going to be a very high technical fight. If Adesanya shoots for a takedown, I would laugh. I would understand too, and it's something that I can do. Like in chess, I used to be this guy who could only attack, who would only checkmate, who would only throw all his pieces at his opponent. And now, if I need to, I can take it to an endgame. I've grown as a chess player. If Adesanya does that, I understand. I'm not gonna like knock him for it. Pereira's weakness is his ground game. They're both good strikers. If you have an advantage on the ground, go for it. Take it. Or mix it, at least throw it in. Because now the hand's going to go a little bit lower if you're taking him down. So then you can go up high and get those lethal strikes. Carla Esparza versus Zhang Wei Li for the women's strawweight, I think is another great fight. Wei Li Zhang is so strong. I mean, there's literally a video of her picking up Francis Ngannou, who is like 260 and she's 110 pounds. And Carla Esparza is a legitimate wrestler. Now, is she a boring fighter? Kind of. It depends on what her opponent does. Wei Li Zhang is not going to just sit in the outside and try to pick her apart like Rose. This is going to be a real fight. Carla going to try to take her down, at least a little bit. I think Wei Li is going to be able to survive these takedowns, and dude, she can strike. Like her last fight, she knocked out Joanna with a spinning back fist. She got hands, and I think this fight should be a lot better. Speaking of hands, the next fight, Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. Dude, that's a banger for sure. I mean, Chandler going out there to die every time. He's not the most intelligent fighter, but he's definitely one of the most fun fighters to watch. And Poirier can strike. Poirier, maybe one of the best boxers. Like, if Holloway the best boxer, why are we not talking about Dustin? Dustin outboxed Holloway back in Atlanta when they fought here. He's got power. He's got movement. So these guys are gonna throw hands. I mean, this is just a fight that you're gonna love to see. Everyone's got to see this. And MSG, Frankie Edgar versus Chris Gutierrez. This is Frankie's last fight. He's a hell of a fighter, hell of a chin, hell of a warrior. And unfortunately, I think he's going to go down this fight. It never looks good going into your last fight, especially when you're on the way out and you're fighting someone who's on the way up. It's almost like they're trying to transfer your fan base, your clout, to this next fighter. Gutierrez is a good striker, and his big strength is leg kicks. His leg kicks are nasty. Frankie's an older guy. I don't know how many of these leg kicks he's going to take. We saw this recently with Jonathan Martinez against Cub Swanson. I mean, Martinez beat those legs up. I mean, maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 leg kicks, and Swanson just couldn't walk. So, I mean, the script's kind of out there. And I think Gutierrez and Martinez are teammates. So, if Gutierrez beats those legs, I mean, it's not looking good for Frankie. Also, Frankie's very hittable. Now, this man can survive hell and back, but at his age, I think you can only take so much punishment. So I mean, definitely I'm going to like Gutierrez there. The next fight is Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles. So Hooker is, first of all, always root for Dan Hooker because everyone likes hookers. Joke I heard from, I think, Cody Saftik. He's been on a downward trajectory recently. He's a good fighter. I mean, everyone he's fought has been good. Michael Chandler, Islam, like they haven't cut him any slack. Everyone he's fought has been top of the food chain. He hasn't really lost to anyone bad, but the fights haven't been that competitive. Yeah, like Arnold Allen, another guy who Dan Hooker fought, who just beat Calvin Kattar. So now even Arnold Allen, like everyone he's fought has or is challenging for a title. So it's been a rough run for him. And unfortunately, I think Claudio Puelles is got the potential to be one of the top of the division. This man has won 3 straight fights by knee bars, I think. So his ground game is insane. Now, will he be able to take Dan to the ground? I think that's the big question here. I wouldn't say his wrestling is that big. And Dan is not some guy who's going to take you down. He's going to try to strike, and I think he's got a lot of anger right now. Like, there was a video of him training with Adesanya, and dude, he was just teeing, like, they were doing some drill, and he was just teeing off and talking shit to Adesanya, completely, like, not as necessary as he needed to. So I think he's kind of got some anger, and he's going to try to take it out on this Claudio Puelles guy. If Claudio can survive, I don't think Claudio can match him on the feet, But if at all it goes to the ground, Dan Hooker is going to be sweating because this man, he's getting knee bars out of nowhere, and imagine what he can do outside of knee bars. Like knee bars is a hard submission to catch. So I'm sure if it goes to the ground, he can pick his poison. And you saw what Islam did to Dan Hooker. He just tore him apart. No chance at all. Man, even the prelim is looking sick. Brad Riddell versus Ronald Moicano. Both these guys are good. Moicano just went through hell fighting RDA. 5 rounds of like, man, this guy looked like he just went through like the Holocaust or something. Like he walked out of there not looking good. I don't know if that was like an incentive joke. Sorry if it is. But, I mean, that was the best way to put it. Like, he looked like he had just seen death, and death was like, you know what? I'll give you another chance. Now, Brad Riddell is a very good striker. I would think Moicano's path to victory would be to take him down. Brad Riddell, I think he has a good get-up game. He fought this guy, maybe Jamie Malarkey, a couple fights ago, who has a very good takedown game, and I think he did a good job getting up. But Moicano has sick jiu-jitsu, and he has good hands. So I think this fight will be fun. Next one, Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann. I mean, someone's getting knocked out this fight. Dominic Reyes has been pretty upset about not being in the main card. And he's kind of got that John Jones curse going. After almost beating John Jones, he's dropped, I think, 3 in a row. All by knockout. All by, like, brutal knockouts, too. Like, the Jan one was tough. The Yuri one was hellacious. And Spann is a guy who's going to throw. Now, if you can survive, like Spann also is the kind of guy who you can knock out too. So this is, I think, a good chance for Dominic to get back on track, but he cannot take this lightly. If he takes this lightly, Spann is going to send him to the Shadow Realm. So he's got to be very, very careful about this upcoming fight. Blanchfield versus Molly McCann. I don't have much to say about this. I mean, Molly's the hype train right now. Molly is like, she gets another spinning elbow finish. I mean, if there's a prop on spinning elbow finish, I would go for that. It's going to be like plus 2,000, and she's gotten 2 in a row, and she's looking for it now. Now it's her favorite go-to. So I mean, I would go for Molly, but I'm not gonna go like never would have. I would maybe bet the over. Actually, maybe bet the under. It's gonna be. It should be like plus 200. So if you want to have fun, I would bet the under. But as far as fighters go, I mean, maybe Molly. I think Molly's gonna be more aggressive. Erin's gonna be on the back foot, and I mean, if she can outpoint her, if she can survive, then Erin could win a decision, but that's kind of all I see about that. Petrovsky versus Wellington Turman. I think this will be a good jiu-jitsu fight. Petrovsky I don't know much about. Wellington Turman, I think, at some point was one of the worst fighters in the UFC, but he's kind of turned it on. He's had 2, I think, pretty solid fights, pretty solid showings recently. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but he's also very, very hittable. This guy who got cut from the UFC, who never knocks anyone out, knocked him to the Shadow Realm, like eyes wide open, like laying back. And Petrovsky, I think, just subbed this one guy. But this fight I don't know too much about. I'm not looking too forward to that. As far as early prelims go, Frivola versus Otman Azatar, I have some interest because Azatar's brother is a gangster. Oh, no. I think Otman Azatar is the man. It's either him or his brother. Dude, these guys throw from hell. I think they're Moroccan. I think it says German here, but that one could be really like that one. I once watched him fight this one guy, and within the first 5 seconds, you knew the fight wasn't going past 30 seconds. Like he just came out and just threw hella hooks. And Frivola is definitely hittable. Frivola he's got to be ready to go to war with this guy. Actually, okay, there is another good fight in the early prelims. Mike Trezano versus Choi Seung Woo. Choi Seung Woo can throw. He's a really fun fighter. I would say his weakness is kind of jiu-jitsu. He fought this guy Alex Caceres, and he was teeing him up. He was hurting him, but Caceres is really, really just a tricky, sneaky, slick fighter. He got hurt, took his back, and then subbed him. Trezano is not like that on the ground. Trezano is going to walk forward. So you're going to see Trezano walking forward and walking him down, and Choi kind of throwing. So I think that'll be a very interesting fight. I mean, as far as betting goes, I wouldn't bet on it because I think over is more likely. But I mean, Choi hits so hard that he could definitely knock out Mike Trezano. Arce, Montel Jackson. I mean, actually, the beginning isn't that bad. The beginning of this card is good. The early prelims, you kind of hit this little lull for a sec, and then it's time to go. Montel Jackson, Julio Arce. That's gonna be a banger. Montel can throw. Montel is good. Julio's I think is solid too. Actually, Julio might be kind of a can. I'm not gonna say a can, but this might be kind of a setup fight for Montel Jackson. He's been on a very upward trajectory. I mean, this guy hits like I think his like Quicksilver is his nickname or something. Like he hits so fast. He dropped this one guy, JP Buys, I think twice or three times. Yeah, so it's Montel Quick Jackson, and man, this guy can strike so fast. So that one's gonna be fun. And even the first fight of the card, Carlos Olberg versus Nikolai Negamoranu. Carlos Olberg is another city kickboxing guy. He's a teammate of Adesanya. He's got good striking, but he's very chinny, and Nicola is going to come and going to try to knock him out. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ulberg is a huge favorite because he's more famous. He has a bigger camp, a bigger team, but he's definitely hittable. And he fought this guy called his nickname was a water buffalo, and he's just destroying this guy. Couldn't knock him out, but every time this guy threw, it almost was like if he hit Ulberg would have gone down. Nicola is going to be a much, much better striker. And if he hits him, I'm very curious to see if Ulberg can take it. If the under is 1.5, if the under is 2.5, I'd smash it. If it's 1.5, I don't know. But I just don't think this fight is going to go the distance unless these guys are both very scared. But Nicola doesn't give up that vibe. He's going to be throwing with killing intentions. So, I mean, the card this weekend, one of the greatest cards I've seen in a while. Really, really looking forward to it. It's also at Madison Square Garden, which always means that people are going to be hyped. People are going to be having a good time. People are going to be trying to put on a show. So, super looking forward to this card. And I think that's it for the podcast. Maybe for a solo podcast, I might have done one solo before. It was fun. Got a lot of stuff. Talked a lot of stuff. A lot of different things. So, hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, please comment or message on Instagram, DAARON, DAARON.3. This week I'll be doing stand-up. I'll be training chess. I will hopefully be streaming every day this week, or at least 3 times this week. I should be boxing come Wednesday and Friday. I'll spar. I'm going to start jiu-jitsu this week. So a lot of things to do. And lastly, I will be putting out a podcast every Monday, hopefully. Not even hopefully, for sure. It's guaranteed. Rest in peace, Takeoff. God bless the Migos. Happy birthday, Olu. And I will see you guys later. Hope you guys were entertained. Peace.